Hi everybody, it's Andrea, aka Violet Kitty 411, and today I'm not actually going to be playing. I'm just going to be talking about the game, the potential future of the game, and whether or not the game is rated appropriately. Now, back in the year 2000, Sims was released, and it was released with an ESRB rating of T for teen. Now, something to know about ESRB, that's the Electronic Software Rating Board, or Entertainment Software Rating Board, excuse me. Those ratings are actually chosen by the developers of software. They are not chosen by somebody looking at it and saying this was what it is. Similarly, movies are also choose their own rating. Now, if they are being ethical, they choose the rating that is appropriate. In 2000, The Sims rated itself as T for teen. Now, I have actually been part of the Sims community for over 20 years. I have no problem telling you I am 52 years old. I've been playing this game since my early 30s. And I always looked at it as being a grown-up version of Barbie's. But I don't really think that today's Sims actually falls under a T for teen rating. Back in the BBS days, that was a bulletin board service hosted by Maxis on their website. Us adults often said, yeah, it's T for children because it was made for teenagers and above. But collecting a lot of people who weren't teens, we could tell that these people weren't even 12 years old that were participating on the BBS. Now I'm going to give Ash here a full makeover. We're going to remove everything and get a few of the skin details. So back in the day when Sims 1, Sims Original, or just plain The Sims was released, base game only, it chose its ESRB rating based off of, oh, we don't like that. Okay, maybe that there. That's actually a pretty good one. Based off of some minor violence, some crude humor, and some very minor sexual content. Now, that was back before even Hot Date was released. In Hot Date, they introduced Play in Bed, which ultimately became Woohoo in The Sims 2 and beyond. And that happened only in a specific bed, as well as a specific hot tub and a second hot tub that was released in Vacation. Okay, so I switched up the skin detail. I think that one's the best for her. Anyway, in Sims 1, it was released with a very, very sanitized version of adult content. It was very, very minor. And since then, many things have been introduced that have gone above and beyond what originally got a T for teen rating. So it's clearly not everyone, but it's currently being marketed to everyone, even though it has a T for teen rating. And I really believe it should be M for mature, because I've actually been playing some M for mature games, and I don't feel they have the content that I see in The Sims. And I don't play with adult mods, for the record. Let's look at maybe a pink one, or that one. Something very, oh, there we go. I like that for her. All right, that's a good one. With so many expansion packs, Hot Date, Vacation, Unleashed, Superstar, Making Magic, that was in The Sims 1, and then moving forward in the Sims 2, Sims 3, Sims 4 franchise. It's always gotten a little bit more. Everything has gotten just a little bit more. But the T for teen rating has not changed in 23 years. Okay, when I use these eyelashes, anything on as far as rings usually are problems. So let's see what happens when I remove the rings. Okay, eyelashes look good. Yeah, they do. Rings and bracelets mess up these particular eyelashes. Now, I am an adult. Like I said, I'm 52 years old. But when I was a young child, my mother actually really, really protected my innocence. I was not even allowed to play, or not play, I should say, watch certain things because my mother knew that I didn't have discernment. And I feel like we as adults, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. We as adults need to protect the innocence of children because they don't have discernment to determine between reality and fantasy. This is a fantasy world that I am currently playing in. And because this is a fantasy world that I'm currently playing in, like I said, I've always likened this to be Barbies. I've always said, you know, I still play with Barbies. I just call them Sims now. Oh, I like that for her. All right. Yeah, that's pretty. And because I do liken them to Barbies, I've always been okay with the suspension of reality. When I was little, my Barbies did not live very realistic lives, but they had amazing adventures. But there is a need to protect the innocence of children. And unfortunately, even though this is fantasy, we're talking about people who do not have a lot of discernment. We're talking about a demographic that would eat sugared cereals all day, every day, if you told them it was okay. These are not people capable of making good life choices. So yeah, do I like that? Or maybe a little more? There we go. And now about some lipstick. I'm doing completely CC here because I have a lot of CC and I don't use it a lot. Let's put, okay, maybe that dark, or maybe do we want a little more? There we go. Although, let's see, that one adds a little bit. Oh, that shows some teeth. Okay, I like that. I like that. Very pretty. Very pretty. So Ash had some piercings, which is pretty cool. All right, there we go. I like that for her. I also like adding a little bit of extra lashes to make them a little fuller. There we go. And let's go ahead and choose some big hoops like she was wearing. Matter of fact, actually, I like this particular one a little more pink in her hair. There we go. And some big hoops for earrings. Are those big enough? Oh yes, that's what we're talking about. Okay, and let's choose a necklace. Again, it's all about the CC here. Oh, that's actually kind of up there with what she was already wearing, although now see her neck is a little thick here. Why? Because actually Ash is not biologically female according to the game. Ash, as you see up here, was issued with the pronouns they, them. Now, back in, I think, November of 2021, I was still a very brand new player to The Sims 4. They announced that they were going to do a pronoun update, and I remember somebody was saying that the pronoun update was very important, and if you didn't agree it was important, not only were you not welcome on that person's channel, but you weren't welcome in the Sims community because you were a bigot. Well, here's the thing about pronouns is the update for the game was not important. It actually, those of you who were playing in May of 2002 know that it actually broke a lot of things. It was really a very, very vicious update that caused a lot of problems. And literally almost nothing that is CC looks good on Ash because Ash has a thick neck, a very masculine neck. Pretty much everything I would want to put on Ash to create the look doesn't work. I'm trying to do a CC look, but retain it to what it originally was. I actually have a broken mod, as you can see here. I haven't figured out which one it is, not important. Ash, if we go down here into the identities, has a masculine physical frame, prefers feminine clothes, can neither get pregnant nor get anyone else pregnant, can produce milk, and can use the toilet standing. This is how Ash ships with the game. Sexual orientation, romantically attracted to men, not exploring romantically, and interested in mess around, which is the teen version of woohoo, with men. This is why I question whether or not ESRB rating of T for teen is appropriate, because this is not something that should be coming from our teachers or corporate America. This only serves to confuse young people who have a lot of things that are confusing in their life. I don't know about you, but I was confused most of my teens over things that had nothing to do with things like my orientation or my identity. I was confused with school. I did have some problems with a teacher, a couple different teachers, one of whom should have gone to jail afterwards. There are so many things, but introducing this kind of information should not be coming from school, and it shouldn't be coming from corporate America, who is making millions off of doing this. Okay, just absolutely millions. Speaking of corporations making millions, and this is speaking as somebody who has very literally had their life saved by medication. So I am not a no big pharma situation. What I am is questioning the ethics of pharma. Do you know that for every person that enters a life of transition on hormones alone, you're talking over $2 million per person. So if you think that there is no agenda for this, you've got another thing coming, because that's a lot of money. Statistically, gender dysphoria is about 1 in 1,000. But currently we have a generation of people, of young people, of the Zoomers, I think is what they're currently calling Gen Z, the Zoomers, who are so confused. And they're being intentionally confused by the powers that be. Let's look for some different pants for her. I think those are probably the best to kind of emulate, but not perfectly mimic what I was going for. I like those. They're technically, I think they're just kind of, they're really relaxed, very comfortable. Ash has got a great sense of style. Not gonna lie, Ash has great style. So let's put some shoes on. I kind of like those for her. Anything else really big and clunky is what I think we're going for. Maybe those? No, I think I liked the last ones I like better. Okay, other than the choker, which I cannot do a good job of because, again, Ash has a masculine neck and I can't choose a good choker that will actually work. That is a CC choker. Let's move on to our formal wear. So The Sims has always pushed the envelope on social construct, and I'm really not upset with that. In my own game, I actually have quite a few Sims that would be on the LGBT scale, and that's of my own creation, not like Ash here currently is exploring trans, is what it looks like. I'm okay with that. The difference being is, again, I'm an adult. I can suspend my disbelief while playing this. But also, I've been watching quite a few adult transgender people who themselves are expressing concern over the current situation. I'd actually like to find a nice suit for Ash. Again, I'm not trying to completely change Ash. I'm just trying to give a CC update situation. So I have actually been watching quite a few YouTubers who are in the LGBT community who are also expressing concern. Their concern being that they themselves, ooh, I really like that, although it's not really, it's definitely not, it's definitely a feminine choice. Their concern is that children are being exposed to and pushed through a process that took them a long time to come to. Both Blair White as well as Buck Angel and even Marcus Dibbs will be the first ones to say that for them, gender dysphoria was very crippling and something that had been present in their life since they were quite young. Now, Buck Angel is currently 61 years old and has been transitioned from female to male for over 30 years. Went through the process of getting transitioned in his 30s and has never regretted it. But that's the problem, is there is a rise of detransitioners, people who made the decision to transition as teens, who are now regretting the fact that they felt forced into, or at least nobody was saying, this is not a good idea at your age. There is a young woman by the name of Chloe Cole, and when she was a teenager, she had a radical mastectomy. And then she regretted it. She did not move forward and get the rest of transition, but she will never be able to nurse her biological children because she fell into a situation where, for whatever reason, I don't know what was happening, but transition was what people encouraged her toward. But it never fixed what was actually hurting in her heart. It was not this magical pill that corrected the pain that she was feeling at the moment. I am thankful for Chloe's sake that she stopped the transition at the point that she stopped it. Her voice is forever changed. It will never go back to a feminine voice. It's not truly a masculine voice, but it's definitely not feminine. I don't know if her body has any ability to recover from the ravages that medical malpractice has wrought upon it. But there are things that will never go back to the way it was. This is a group of people whom we were told under the Obama administration were too immature to make a wise decision about something as insignificant as health insurance. Yet now we need to say they know themselves and they can make a decision that is impacting and irreversible and medically detrimental. But that's what we're doing. I think I like that look for her. That's a good look. But let's change her boutonniere. At this point, the boutonniere, we have to go with the Maxis because that is only available, as far as I know, in Maxis. Let's give her something. I mean, teal is what was happening, but pink, black, that actually looks pretty good on there. All right, I like that. How about some earrings that, do we have some really pretty, we've got rose gold earrings, I think that works. And what about a nose ring? And again, the rose gold, apparently, no? Okay, how about, it's not working. There we go. That's something. Okay. And through the power of stop motion, let's go ahead and put the makeup back on her. All right, I'm satisfied. That's a pretty good look. Now let's get some athletic look for her. Probably let's look for something yellow. That's pretty cool. But something that stands out in my mind is that never in the history of psychiatry or therapy have clinicians been threatened with loss of license, fines, and even jail time if they do not conform to the reigning ideology of the time. So Blair White talks about how she went in to her first appointment and walked out 30 minutes later with a prescription for estrogen. Fortunately, it worked out for her. And there is a pretty famous TikToker who said, fortunately, it worked out for her. But what about all of those who haven't? That's why there's this rise of detransitioners, something that never happened before in the trans community, was detransitions. If I were a parent of a young adult, by young adult I mean somewhere between 12 and 19, a teenager, I would be terrified. And I really wouldn't want them constantly exposed to something that seems benign, but is clearly meant to program towards something that I disagree with. And it's not that I disagree with transitioning. That's an adult choice. And if you're an adult, you can make an adult choice. That is not a child choice. Did you know that in the United States today, an adult woman, and by adult I mean 28 years old, cannot go to her gynecologist and get medically sterilized of her own free will, because she might change her mind. She can't have her tubes tied. She might change her mind. But a 12-year-old, they don't ask this? Isn't there a problem here? Isn't there a disconnect? I really like the cows. I think these are kind of adorable. Let's make sure we get the right colors. Pinks. No, I think that is the best. So my point with this entire video is that EA/Maxis is pushing a very adult agenda on a group of people who are A, not adults, and B, extremely impressionable. And that could very well be contributing to this not truly gender dysphoric situation that we have happening amongst our teenagers. I'm looking for the right skirt, but because of the frame, a lot of things don't sit appropriately on Ash. I think that's going to be the summertime look. Okay, so these are all of Ash's looks. Winter, summer, swimmies, party wear, sleepwear, athletic, formal, and everyday. So I just want to say, I don't have a problem with an adult making a decision for their adult selves. I have a huge problem with corporate America, big pharma, medical America, teachers leading kids into making decisions that are clearly meant for adults, that so many of them are now regretting, and they're irreversible. And that's why I'm not 100% certain that T for teen is the appropriate rating for this game anymore. Because this is clearly adult decision making, labeled for teens, and being marketed for everyone. So I have a feeling that some people are really going to hate this video, and I'm actually okay with it. I felt my concerns needed to be shared, and I hope I see you soon in the pixelated world, and that's all I have to say. VK out.